Hey there, folks. Welcome to another Link to the Past Randomizer 2019 tournament match. It's a top 16 showdown here between Goomba and Yoshi. It's the battle of the Mario characters. How about that? Should be a really good one here. I'm Sabotender, and I'm joined by my buddy Megawatt. Megawatt, how you doing, man?
I'm doing quite all right. How about you, Sabo?
I'm doing excellent, man. I'm really excited that we get to call this one together. These two runners are fantastic. It should be a really good one. This is their first game in their 3-game set. Um, do you have the bracket up right now? We can take a look at how they got here.
I don't have it up, but I
Ooh,
believe Goomba came through, if I'm correct, Magnificent, McLagging, and this is top 16, right? So that'd be it for him. Whereas
right.
Yoshi came through, I want to say NY Rambler and Christos Owen to get here. So Yoshi's had quite a bracket himself up to this point, which has been
Yeah.
really interesting to watch. But that's not to count Goomba out. He's definitely an amazing player as well, and both of these players definitely deserve to be top 16, in my opinion.
Yeah, Yoshi is like the sneaky guy that got in here. He was the number 3 seed coming into the bracket stage entirely. So people were kind of sleeping on him, like, who is this guy? But he's made it all the way to the top 16, and he's got a legit shot here. Goomba, kind of better known through the community. He usually kind of tops that SRL leaderboard, even though those points don't mean anything. Yeah, just two heavyweights here already in the round of 16. It's exciting.
It's going to be pretty interesting to see whether Yoshi will stomp Goomba or if Goomba will send Yoshi running. So we're here to find that out. And
Alrighty,
off we
let's get
go.
going.
Since this is game one, this is going to be the normal open 7-7 settings. No standard, no 6-6, none of that. But we're seeing two different openers here. Goomba from Sanctuary and Yoshi going for the good old Link's House to Uncle route. Looking for a bit of resources to start off his start off the seed here. Getting not much out of it though, at least out of that tree pull. Whereas Goomba going for a bit more of a meta route right now, which is starting Sanctuary, heading up to Lost Woods, and from there saving quitting if he does not have the resources to go forward into Kakariko.
Nice. So Yoshi picking up a boomerang, blue boomerang. You know, it's one of those things that's nice to have, but not entirely necessary.
Just gonna get a bit of a pause here while we sync up these two runners. And that should do it.
Perfect. Yeah, Uncle Route. It's one of those ones. I used to be a fan of it. It pays out sometimes. You know, if you can get a weapon in that first little part, you might go for the rest of Escape. But sometimes, more often than not, really, it kind of ends up like this, where you end up just going to Sanctuary afterwards, anyways.
Exactly. And Yoshi did manage to get a single bomb out of it, which is very nice for him. Gonna make it slightly more tempting to follow up Lost Woods with Kakariko instead of a save and quit. But let's see what Goomba does. Also getting the bomb drop, and also getting to check the tier 3 tree pull down here, having killed a few extra enemies on his way over. Going to save it for after the Lost Woods drop down, though, it seems.
Ether Medallion. All right. Could need that at some point.
Yoshi's skipping a lumberjack check for now, just opting for Lost Woods.
That's also
Not really
pretty common.
concerned about that location.
A lot of runners like to wait until they've got, boots or something so they can kind of quickly zip up that way.
Yeah, not to mention the boots having a bit more relevance in the case of that specific location because it's not even accessible without them.
Exactly.
Goomba with only one bomb, not feeling comfortable heading from the north route in the CAC, so he's going to head for the south instead, especially considering he hadn't checked Link's house yet. This will give him a chance. This will give him a chance to get a few more bombs from the 50-50 grass pulls right here. He's not going to stick around to farm more, though. He's fine with 2.
Alright, we're getting blindsight here from Yoshi. Let's see what these first couple of checks into Kakariko give us. Good stuff so far. A bottle. Well, at least we can check Sick Kid on our way through here.
That is going to be nice for Yoshi, but a bit unfortunate for Goomba, assuming he doesn't find another bottle in a slightly more convenient location. Because his plan right now basically is to save and quit at a Blind's Hut, which he might be tempted not to do with the location of that bottle.
Just a piece of heart in the tavern there. Nothing yet for our runners is really going to push them in any kind of direction, so just going to be doing checks.
Yoshi, though, having to take a bit of a twisted route around Kakariko, only coming in from the north with one bomb. Fortunately, he has enough money to buy 10 more, but it does kind of throw a wrench into your Kakariko routing, as we see here. Not being able to follow up with the well immediately after Blind's Hut.
Alrighty, in the well. Just 10 arrows in the first chest. Looking good so far.
Nothing
Wow.
much in Kakariko at all. Only a bottle for the most part, and not even anything on Sick Kid to boot.
Yeah, that's and look, Goomba's got to farm a couple of rupees out here because it's been so stingy, and he's looking to do the bottle vendor before he leaves. Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you only have to dip one more time to get enough money for the bottle vendor, I definitely support it. It's better than spending time going into and out of Blind's Hut, although he's probably going to be tempted to do so anyway, thanks to that bottle, which is slightly unfortunate. Yoshi, though, despite coming in from the north with only one bomb and having a slightly twistier Kakariko route, is going to have a slightly better time in here.
Yikes! So I guess South Shore is going to have something then, right? It's got to at this point.
Yeah. It's also Eastern Palace and Escape that are wide open to us. It'll be interesting to see if something's an Escape, because currently Goomba has a little bit more incentive to head over there than Yoshi does. So I suspect Yoshi might follow up with South Shore. Goomba probably as well.
It's probably. It seems reasonable that they would both do it.
Yeah, Yoshi going down to race game in the library, finish up all of his business here. Goomba probably just turning in Sick Kid item and getting 50 bombs and then bailing out. Nope, not even the bombs. Okay.
Huh. Well, if he's not
Might
going
be
to get
planning on
bombs,
Eastern play.
Yeah, I was going to say something like that.
Lets you walk right past another bomb shop, check the Lake Hylia item, and then go on. Or maybe not. Very curious as to what this is. He doesn't have
Could this
enough
be
bombs.
the dam out to Agina?
That could be, yeah. And this might be followed up by an Eastern play. Yoshi, however, going down with 10 bombs, probably planning for the more standard dam to Mini Moldorm to Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, looks like it. I would agree. Well, heart container is nice, but still, yeah, nothing, no progression, no anything.
So this is the Agina play from Goomba then. If he doesn't find anything here, he probably just makes the Eastern play, or at the very least, Sahasrarla's Closet.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yoshi also going for Gina's though, but
Ooh.
probably going to come back to Mini Moldarm Cave a bit sooner than Goomba does.
I wonder if that's like some meta game stuff, because Goomba usually will do a Gina before a lot of runners, so maybe Yoshi's trying to cut that off and do it as well, just to, you know, prevent any possibilities of getting leaving that as a last location.
Oh yeah, it's definitely pretty significant in 1v1 to play to your opponent's habits. There's definitely been a lot of that, especially in this tournament, I've noticed. And it's particularly effective in some cases as well. Not much from Agina's Cave today, though.
No, not at all.
So Goomba doing as we figured, looking to make the Eastern play. Checked like highlight item, Chap Magic. Not too bad to have. Yoshi probably going to head to Mini Moldarm Cave now.
Yeah, picking up the hearts as well, just in case he gets, you know, bodied by some crabs, he'll be taken care of, you know.
7 hearts, though. We're pretty healthy this early on in the seed. I don't think the crabs are going to be that much of an issue.
No, not for these guys.
Ooh, that's an idea. They did get a B from that bottle in Kakariko. I'd completely forgotten about that, but that is going to be helpful in here.
Yeah. Ooh, we got a
Ooh,
flute.
we got a flute. A bit of a rude spot for that, but...
Okay.
A sword in Mini Moldarm Cave on top of the pearl, and a decent amount of money.
All right. We're getting some things. We're getting some things.
That pearl also opens up a bit of an interesting routing option for Yoshi once he finishes Ice Rod Cave. If he so wants to, he could go for the Zora's Domain play, but without a couple rupee drops, he would be having to orphan Zora himself.
Yeah, that's a tough call to make. But it's one that really tempts a lot of players to go for that fake flipper and grab those 2 items in the waterfall.
Oh, okay. The crabs are proving pretty tenacious today, it seems, despite all of our extra health. Oh, okay. 300 in Ice Rod Cave, but Yoshi still decides to avoid the Zora area for now.
Puts him pretty close to the 500. It might have been, you know, maybe worthwhile to, you know, risk it and hope to get another 50 drop or something from one of the chests. Ooh, Kuma finds the lamp. Okay, we're slowly putting some pieces together here.
Puts a little bit more of Eastern logic as well as the old man. So he might be thinking about headed towards the mountain next once he goes to activate that flute after he finishes up in Eastern Palace. Yoshi, meanwhile, despite having done the uncle play so early, going back to escape within about 10 minutes isn't something you often see. If you see runners go straight to uncle at the start of a race, usually it means they're not going to be coming back to escape for a decent amount of time. Yoshi, though, opting for this over the Eastern play. It's pretty interesting. Although it could be like more of an example of that meta routing, like you mentioned. Possibly knowing that Goomba does not go for the uncle play. He's thinking like, okay, what if Goomba went to escape and he found something there? Because like it's looking pretty likely that might happen, right? So maybe you don't want to put that off for too much longer.
Yeah, especially with no bow turning up, Yoshi might not think that Goomba would dive Eastern Palace right away, even though it's a pendant. So yeah, definitely. I mean, it factors into a lot of how you play a 1v1, what you know about your opponent and what you think they might do. You want to try and, you know, gain an edge any way you can, or trying to cover the moves that they might make. So yeah, I can see why he might have dipped into escape a little earlier than maybe usual.
Ooh. That's a nice glove on Goomba's end, put into logic only by the lamp he found in the very same dungeon. And the cane and Zelda
Oh.
cell. Okay. Seeing some interesting stuff.
I mean, depending on how, I mean, we most likely are going to need that cane. Depending on what kind of other stuff Goomba starts to find, he might leave Escape for quite a while. It's kind of a place that if you don't go there in the very early game, you tend to leave it for quite a while.
That is an excellent point. I do think Goomba tends to be a major proponent of doing Escape early, though.
Hmm.
So we'll see how that plays into things here. We'll also be seeing Dark Cross from him, since the key was in the back, and he's got the lamp, which is something Yoshi did not do. But we'll probably do a bit later, once he gets his own glove. Goomba with no sword, though, has to rely on the bee in the back here.
I mean, that bee is clutch, man. I mean, that's both runners making use of that bee in the bottle.
Oh, and there's another sword right there in Dark Cross, which is pretty interesting to find, actually. That puts Aga on the table all of a sudden, since we now have 2
Immediately.
swords and a lamp.
Immediately what I thought.
So with a lamp and a sword, Goomba might be looking to do Escape last at this point. He's going to activate his
Yep.
flute now, which I think means he's probably going to be headed towards the mountain next. Pick off the 2 checks there, and then come back for the front of Escape and combine that into the Aga play.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty solid routing. By that point, you'll know if, well, more or less, you would know if you need to do Aga. So saving Escape until the end there would be pretty solid.
Of course, I think he will have to do Mini Moldorm Cave at some point as well, since that had the other sword and the pearl.
Yeah,
So that's probably important.
he'll get there.
But I definitely feel a mountain play coming up, either next, or if not that, very soon.
All right, well, we're 15 minutes into this exciting match. I just want to give a quick shout out to our tracker, icy, clicking those buttons behind the scenes. We really appreciate that. So yeah, show our tracker some love here. All right, Goomba right down to South Shore, so he'll get that second sword, which will kind of maybe tip him off that Aga is a possibility, but he does have a lot of other things to check with that flute. Well, a couple other things to check with that flute in hand.
P-Train in chat making an excellent point too. With the flute on hand and the $300 he's about to get out of Mini Moldorm Cave, the fake Flipper Tesora's domain is looking a lot more attractive for Goomba than it did for Yoshi.
Yes, and with the glove, I mean, that puts Zora technically in logic, so yeah, even more reason to go make that play.
So Yoshi going to be getting his glove here and probably immediately heading for the back of Escape, which is definitely the play for him. He'll get that second sword, and Aga will suddenly be on his mind as well.
Yeah.
Goomba going for the mountain, though. Opting, at least for now, not to do the fake flipper.
You know, I am a little surprised at that, but, you know, it is what it is. Alrighty, so we'll have Spectacle Rock Cave, and we'll get a peek at what's on top of Spec Rock. But that's going to be all that we can do up here.
Provided something interesting is not simply sitting inside a Spectacle Rock.
Ooh, that'd be
But
spicy.
at this point, it is looking very much like an Aga play. You know, that red boomerang might not be useless. He's not going for it, but it's definitely got its uses here. He does not have the
Honestly,
cane yet,
yeah.
so... No, he is going for the fake flipper now, though. Alzen in chat pointing out that Goomba is not necessarily a fan of fake flippers, but this might be more like a meta thing again, where he thinks that Yoshi might be going for this himself, considering all the money they have on hand. The fact that Zora's in logic. So he kind of probably is looking to not lose a potential advantage through this. Especially before making a play like Aga, without something else to go on, like a bow or a hook shot, right? Because if you make an Aga play before you're out of locations to check, generally it's because you have a very, very solid reason to believe that that's the play, more than just having the items you need to go kill Aga. Usually that involves something like along the lines of a bow or a hook shot, some way to either get into pod and clear everything in logic in there, or get to the West Dark World. But our runners have neither of those things right now, which makes the Aga call a little bit tougher to make.
Yeah, I mean, if we get into the Dark World there, you can go into pod, but you're going in without the bow, without the hammer. You can go up to Catfish, and that's about it. So you're hoping that like the Pyramid Ledge item is like immediately something that can get you going. So yeah, it didn't look like a really like appealing option to head into the Dark World through Aga, but really it might be all that we have. All right, Yoshi checking out the mountain right now.
Nothing on Zora, so this is definitely an Aga seed. I
Yep.
think we've seen everything at this point. Everything in the light world, anyway.
Yes, I can't think of anything we haven't seen. So yep.
So Goomba does get to chain the front of escape in with the Aga play, which is going to be pretty nice for him. Works out really efficiently. Yoshi also going to go for the Zora's Domain play, though.
Yeah, that'll be the last of his checks, and then he'll be following Goomba into Castle Tower there. Well, he skipped on the red boomerang, but there was no avoiding the blue boomerang there.
It's honestly not too bad to have them sometimes. Like, just if for nothing else, than to make an easier menu.
That's exactly why. Like, if I see a boomerang, I will pick it up. Like, I want that menu to be clean.
Oh yeah, nothing is worse, in my opinion, than a really nasty menu that you have to like look at for like several seconds in order to figure out, okay, how am I going to get from this item to this other item? Ooh.
Yeah, I find that there's like there is a couple of key items on the like y-axis going on with the boomerang there. You got your hammer and your cane of Samaria both in line there, and I often have to want to try and drop right down to them, and having that boomerang in place there definitely makes for easier menuing.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is Yoshi's last check in the light world as well, right? So he'll probably be headed to Aga as well after this. So these two are going to end up probably pretty synced on the Aga Tower climb.
Yeah, it is pretty even so far. I mean, both these guys have been, the routing has been different, but their execution is, just top notch. Their movement's been really good, so it's no surprise that we're kind of converging on Aga Tower here at the same time.
Goomba gets his cane, is going to be death warping, and will be taken to the leftmost door of Hyrule Castle entrance, since he did take care to set his warp point there. And these guys are going to be incredibly synced heading into Aga Tower. Look at this.
This is amazing.
Just about 2 seconds apart. So we'll definitely get to see some execution on display here. Some different room strats that might make a difference or two in the Aga Tower climb. Both approaching that first one with very different ideas of how to do it, but making it out at about the same pace they entered it, with Yoshi following about 2 seconds behind.
That was a nice little test to see, which of those two strategies is actually quicker, and it seems like they're more or less the same.
Yoshi having a little bit of trouble here, though, thanks to having full health, ironically. Having those sword beams when you swing at the bat just attracts all the guards' attention, and that's costing him a good bit of time here.
Yep, pretty even so far here. Okay, so what do we think? What do we think when they get into the Dark World? Is it just Pod is your first play? I mean, I guess depending on what the pyramid item is, but are you thinking we just go to Pod? We don't do Catfish, right?
I'm hesitant to say which one. Catfish might be a better call first in this situation, because you don't have to worry about chaining it into Zora's Domain or anything like that, since they've already done that. And they don't have a mirror to begin with. Just in case it's something nasty, like the bow or the hammer, that would make their trip into Pod a little bit more smooth. Or rather, the hammer just letting them go anywhere else. But at least that's just my opinion on it. I've been burned by that exact thing, not too recently in this tournament, actually. So it's fresh on my mind.
Yeah. Alrighty, so we're into the Aga fight. Both runners will see the same Aga patterns here. That's one thing that's part of the randomizer, is that the blue balls are kind of like predetermined, I guess, so that there's no variance in the RNG here.
So we got Aga down for Goomba. This will be the first Dark World access we've seen in this seed. Both at the same time for both runners. We got Green Pennant Swamp, Pennant Ice Palace, and 5-6 Mire. So Flippers optional? Question mark?
Yeah, maybe.
Yoshi gaining a bit of time, not doing a map check, and not going for the full heart container. Although, probably not going to stave off that map check forever. But we are going to see a split in routing, where Goomba's going to Catfish first, while Yoshi's going straight over to Pod.
Be interesting to see what we find up at Catfish. I mean, it's a nice, I don't know, it's a decent kind of big brain play. You know, if something is here, great. Oh, is he gonna get a potion? Yeah,
Ooh,
look at this guy.
This is a good idea on Goomba's part. Mimic clipping is a thing. You don't actually need a potion to get over to the right side of Palace of Darkness, but it is, unless you're really, really good at mimic clipping, it is significantly faster to just potion glitch. So this is definitely some heads up routing on Goomba's end. Going this way, not only to get Catfish first, but also a potion. So I didn't consider this before, but I think this definitely makes Catfish the slightly better play here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if Yoshi gets locked out here, then you know, he's gonna have to make the trip up to Catfish, you know, again, and then maybe back down to Pods. So it kind of makes the routing a little more inefficient.
Not getting much from Catfish, but I think the potion alone is definitely worth the trip up here.
Let's see what this first chest holds. This will kind of determine what happens next. Okay, we can keep going. That's cool.
I mean, at this point, whatever we're looking for is guaranteed to be in Palace of Darkness, so unless the first chest was the bow, it wasn't going to be anything but a small key. That is true, Allison. I neglected that. I neglected to consider that possibility, but yeah, basically that first chest had to have some sort of progression, if not a small key. So either way, Pod is still the answer.
Yeah, so the benefit for Goomba here is that even though we don't have the bow yet, he can check out those bow locked chests on the right side. The big key could be there, and he could get the big chest as well. And on this dip into Pod, it could be another piece of progression, and it could kind of give him a sense as to, you know, maybe where the bow is or isn't.
We do have potential for that kind of knowledge, yeah.
But our boy Yoshi here, it looks like he might be setting up to do some mimic clips.
Oh, he has a fairy. Oh no, and a blue potion.
Wait, when did we get the blue potion?
He might have bought it at some point. Except I don't think he did. Did he? I don't think there's any potion shop aside from the witch's hut that sells blue potions, right? Or no. The blue potion was in Sahasrah's closet. That's right. I'd forgotten all about that one. But yeah, so they did have one.
So basically, Goomba just wasted money then. Not cool. Not cool, dude. Mm-mm.
Or maybe he wants to save that blue potion, so he uses this red potion to clip instead.
Oh.
So we got a map on the ledge chest. What was in the other chest? I'm guessing a small key, but I
Small
didn't catch
key,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that means everything in the Dark Maze, plus Big Key Chest and Hellway are going to be locked behind the bow.
Yes.
So whatever we're looking for is probably just in Turtle Room or Dark Basement.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Well, except for the case where the progression locks either the bow or hammer. Because without both of those, you logically cannot access the 6 small key door. So it might actually be in the Dark Maze if that particular wrinkle in the logic is in play here.
Mm.
Yeah, Allison and Chad pointing out the same thing. And it seems like that is the case as well. Goomba going for the Mimic clip despite having the potions. I didn't catch it. Did he mess up the potion glitch?
He did mess up the potion glitch, so we'll have to ask him about that after the race. I mean, this is top 16. Like, come on, Goomba.
No excuses for Goomba. Alright, but on Yoshi's side, looks like we found our progression here in Pod with the mitts. Oh boy. What a fun seed.
Yeah, like, that's not what we want to see. We want to see something where we can, clear a dungeon out at this
And
point. I
the
mean, I guess we can...
boots.
Oh!
That's
Boots?
pretty nice.
All right, it's still...
Boots are pretty good.
That's nice.
I mean, it's still a hookless, bowless Aga seed to get mitts for Dark World access without a mirror, but hey, we got boots, so it's all good.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, I guess like if you want to get a crystal like taken care of, I guess you go to Thieves Town. Seems like the most reasonable play.
Definitely seems to be the case. Definitely some sort of Village of Outcasts, maybe down to Hype Cave first. I probably wouldn't go all the way into Thieves Town without the hammer, just in case there's something important in that big chest. I would probably opt for... Personally, I would do Village of Outcasts, maybe the first 4 in Thieves Town, then grab my smith, head down to Hype Cave, and then come back, turn in the smith, and do Thieves Town and Skullwoods at that point, if I haven't found anything else. But we do have boots checks to take out beforehand. Although they're not going to turn up anything really interesting for us.
And Yoshi's gonna check out the... he might... I wonder if he'll just blind grab this item on Lumberjack, because he hasn't seen this yet.
He definitely might, yeah. I mean, what else? Would you really go and just check that when you can go and grab it instead?
Yeah.
Like, honestly. It's just better to do this. So Yoshi going to check Mire area first. Which is definitely worth doing. I think we haven't had any reason for this flute to be here yet, right? Nothing was on Death Mountain. And so it might be worth following even without a mirror. Just dedicate a save and quit to Mire's Shed, basically.
Well,
And we can even access Mire itself and full clear it.
How about that?
We have a fire source, we have Cane, boots, Ether Medallion. It's going to be a bit of a low equipment full clear, but it's something... Ooh. And definitely a good item right there out of the Mire Shed. That'll give us all of East Death Mountain, including East Dark Death Mountain, which is a lot of item density that Yoshi will probably head to before making any sort of play towards Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, this is working out really well for Yoshi. Mire is also one of our 5/6 crystals, so nice to knock that out. Just if you were thinking about doing the Pyramid Fairy at some point in the race, yeah, good stuff from him so far here.
Goomba following up with much the same stuff, starting off with his boots checks, and then we'll see if he also decides to go straight to Mire. So I'm very interested to see what's here in Misery Mire. Because it is attractive in the fact it is the only crystal dungeon we can currently full clear with this equipment. However, it's we're a little low equipment, for that matter. We have Master Sword, which is pretty nice, but I don't know.
I mean, there's probably going to be nothing in here. We've been given enough like other pieces that'll lead us in other directions, I think, where more progression might lie. I'd be surprised if there was anything in here, but it is just, while you're here, just clear it out. Why not?
Yeah, pretty much. And for top 16, I don't think Master Sword is going to be any sort of handicap on our runners here. Fighter Sword would be significantly worse, but I think Master Sword is pretty manageable. Goomba going for the Mire play as well. Neither one of them hesitating.
It must be the lack of hammer situation that's keeping the runners from wanting to check out Village of Outcasts and, like, Thieves Town.
Yeah, because thinking about it from that perspective, this is the most efficient thing they can currently do. Everywhere else they go, there's going to be stuff that you can't efficiently clear without a hammer. Like, you go to the mountain, there's, what about Hera? You go to Village of Outcasts, what about Thieves Town, Big Chest, and Hammer Pegs? This is the one thing, although pretty early on in the seed, that they can just efficiently 100% clear. So definitely, I think, a good play from both of them to head straight in here. Especially considering that they have all the entry requirements for it this early. It makes me kind of suspicious that something good is going to be in here.
Alrighty, cutscene chest. What do you got for us?
Ooh. A bit of a nasty item. Bit of a middle finger towards all that time you spent.
Yeah.
Just a single rupee. Still looking for that second item, though, as well. Or wait, have we seen the second item? Or are we looking for the big key? I've been looking back
We're
and
looking
forth
for Big
between them.
Key.
Oh, okay. There's the big key. But we're also still looking for the second item.
Yes, we are. Huh. So it looks like it's on Vidi.
So where do you think our runners go after this, assuming they find nothing else? They just picked up the hookshot in Mire's Shed, but that's all that's looking like will come from Misery Mire. Do you go to Death Mountain, or do you go to Village of Outcast in this situation? Knowing that
I
you'll have the orphan
feel
stuff
like
either way.
the mountain is probably at this point. You've made a nice play, going for the dungeon that you can full clear. It's a crystal and whatnot. I think the next play you make has got to be for density, and that's your East Death and Dark Death Mountains there.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Not to mention the fact that you just picked up the hookshot in Mire's Shed. It's the most recent item you've gotten from the deepest sphere. I'd say follow it. That just makes the most sense to me.
Already heading into the Vitreous fight. This is gonna be tough, but not insurmountable for our runners here. We got some bombs thrown and some spins going on here. Seems about right.
Opting to pull out the cane and do some dash strats. The cane in this fight is a bit of a double-edged sword. It makes it a lot safer, but it also slows it down considerably, like, just because of the lag. On top of all the different sprites on screen. Burna is not ideal for this fight. But with their limited equipment, sometimes you just gotta deal with it. Oh! Can't remember if Yoshi had any safeties left, but it's looking a little rough.
We do have the fairy still, I think.
Okay, so he should be fine. And with Viddy in phase 2, he's probably got it. Phase 2 is significantly easier. You just gotta keep a good pattern going, as Yoshi
Yeah.
has set right now. There we go.
Big
So no
20.
progression on Vitreous. Still not a bad play, though. It's the #1 most efficient thing you could be doing at the moment, so I don't think either of our runners are going to feel bad about having found nothing in here.
Yeah, I think both of these guys kind of like trust that if they are, doing the things that are kind of like max efficiency, they'll be okay. They don't need to take any kind of crazy risks. It is only game one after all, so they're not swinging for the fences trying to stay alive or anything at this point. So their plays are making sense so far.
So Yoshi going for the mountain, trying to follow that hook shot right away. Getting a little stuck on the dead rocks. I hate it when you hook shot and you get a clear shot the first time, but then they like step into your way and they just block you.
Rude.
Very rude. Goomba going for a similar strat here, utilizing Burna and getting a bit of a slow fight, but using that blue goo to get something interesting going with slashes instead of with dash strats. He's running low on health though, and I don't think he has that fairy either. So he's got to be a bit careful here.
Taking it slow and steady here with the slashes here. Okay, Powder over in East Death Mountain.
And the mirror. Okay, that's an interesting set of items to find next to each other when you don't have the hammer.
Yeah, ooh, yeah.
And that bomb jump is awful. I really feel Yoshi's pain here. Sometimes you just miss that bomb jump and you have no idea why. It's dumb. So opting instead of to try it again, just gonna walk around to the front.
Yeah, I can't say that I blame him. It's one that is it feels like it should be so free, and yet it like I get psyched out on that one all the time, and I'll even just bail without even trying if I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, it is deceivingly difficult. You'd think it'd be one of the freest bomb jumps, but actually no. We got Goomba following in Yoshi's footsteps here. Not surprising, as both of these runners just wanted to follow that hook shot from Irish Shed.
Yeah.
With the mirror, though, they will be able to access Hera through Dark Death Mountain. So that is a nice bit of a thing they no longer have to orphan just because they don't have hammer, because now they have the mirror, which is a separate way of getting over there.
Yeah, and Mirror is also going to be our Desert Palace access, which is the other 5/6 crystal. If that's on their mind, that is another play on the table now.
That is true as well.
Probably won't
It
do that,
also
right
makes
away.
yeah. It also makes the Village of Outcasts play a little bit nicer, because then you don't have to do the really, really ugly mirrorless Smith sequence or even worry about skipping it.
Mm-hmm.
Going to get a check at the Turtle Rock Medallion as well. And it is Quake. Alright.
Alrighty, Hookshot Cave, what you got for us? so far. It's looking great.
Oh,
Hey, there we
there it
go.
is. So, oh no, with no hammer you still can't dip. But it's nice to see the key is just sitting right under the mat. Man, those post-agate dead rocks, man.
Yeah.
Dead rocks have no business being on top of the mountain. Or next to a bridge, specifically.
Or anywhere in this game, please.
Exactly. V32, can we remove dead rocks?
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
It'd be a nice quality of life change, for sure. We got a bow and lobby chest of Hera. But with Big Key in the basement, it looks like we're gonna get some Hera pod action.
Yeah, big key in the behind the tile room there, and with your first item already dug out of the dungeon. This it's a pretty common play to Harapot and hope for the best.
Yoshi having a little bit of trouble getting this Hera pot down. The trick here with this specific setup is that your last movement to the right has to be only by 1 pixel. Otherwise, you fail the setup. And it's also a pixel perfect alignment, so you have to have a 1 pixel movement to the right onto a pixel perfect location. So it's pretty tricky. Oh, and the Fire Rod in Hera. Bow and Fire Rod. That's some value right there.
Yeah, things are moving along.
Very
Still
stacked
no
here.
hammer though.
At this point, what are we looking for still? Ice Rod and Hammer? Are we Ice Rod and Hammer for Go mode right now? I think we are.
Yeah.
And naturally, which one do you think we're gonna find first? Definitely not the Ice Rod.
Oh no.
Although if we did, that'd be... Ooh.
Oh no.
Yoshi taking a nasty Moldorm fall.
Center hold. No.
Probably one of the worst falls you could take.
It feels so bad. Like these guys, they're so good. They're so practiced in the Moldorm fight that you never really expect this kind of thing to happen. And then center hole happens, and it's just the worst feeling.
Goomba getting that Harapot first try though, so on top of not falling to Moldorm potentially, he's going to gain a bit of time back there as well. Goomba gets his second item. And Yoshi gets his second crystal. At this point, where do you go next? Definitely just Village of Outcasts.
Yes, yeah, we can take care of Skullwoods, and I mean then maybe you take a look in Thieves Town.
No, you definitely look at Thieves Town at this point. Your two
Yeah.
items for Go mode, and one of them's the hammer. You definitely go to Thieves Town. Oh, but
Well,
Yoshi going to Desert instead. Probably looking to
definitely go to Desert.
get his other 5/6 crystal before he goes to Village of Outcasts. That's a smart idea too.
Actually, yeah, really heads up here. If he does decide to do Village of Outcasts, then swoop down. We haven't seen Hype Cave yet, right? So if we swoop down to there, then you pick up Big Bomb and you finish the loop by doing Pyramid Fairy. So this is pretty solid.
Yeah, there's still a pretty dense chunk of the Dark World Overworld that we haven't seen from either runner yet. Just because they've been on roughly the same path after Aga.
Man, at this point, I'm convinced these guys are actually the same person. They're just doing the same stuff.
Goomba's definitely gained a lot of time back on Yoshi, though. I think they're only about 30 or so seconds apart.
Cool.
Some nice back-to-back bows there in Hera and Desert. So So Yoshi probably going to check this chest and then immediately bail and go to land mode instead of checking the big chest. Just out of the hopes that your other item is on land mode instead of in the big chest, and save you a bit of time walking back into the left side.
It's a really nice 50-50 gamble to make, you know? I mean, when it's a randomizer, the odds usually aren't good when you kind of make a play like this, but when it's 50-50, those are really good odds, so just go for it.
Got a relatively clean back of desert there from Yoshi. Let's see how Goomba's compares. We got silvers for Landmo. Nice and easy one cycle. Every time. And a refund on your ammunition. And that also means they don't have to go back in for the big chest, so that's a win for both of these guys.
Yeah, I definitely made the right play on that one. Alright, so we're going to get to Checkerboard Cave, and then we'll be completely done with this portion of the world. Not going to need to come back here ever again. Alrighty, heart container at this point. Probably not going to need it. We're at 10 hearts for Yoshi, 11 hearts for Goomba. We're in pretty good shape. Alrighty, looks like Yoshi is heading for the Dark World here. Village of Outcasts and Skull Woods area. Probably going to go Skull Woods first, and might even go right to Mothula first.
I imagine he at least stops to check the big key chest in the middle on his way over to the back. But yeah, this is generally how most people will treat this in a situation like this. You go back to front. That way, if you find both items, you can just walk right on out and continue with your checks either in the north direction or towards Village of Outcasts. But generally, this works out, so if you get both items, either in the middle or in the back, you just don't have to bother with the front at all, since you have to go to the back for Mothula anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're moving along here. It's nice that we're finally clearing out some dungeons, getting some crystals on the board here. You know, because that first 40 minutes or so was a lot of exploration and finding items, finding pieces of this puzzle, and now we're really kind of in the zone here.
Yeah, just looking for only 2 more pieces at this point: the ice rod and the hammer. 2 very polar opposite items in their effect on the rest of the seed. Hammer locking so much of it, ice rod locking so little. So it'll be interesting to see which of those 2 we end up finding first. Probably the hammer, but you never know. It'll also be interesting, actually, if we end up finding the flippers at some point. Especially if we end up finding them before the hammer.
Yeah, pre-hammer would be kind of gross. It would make you start to think maybe I should go into Ice Palace or something. You know, one of those plays that you don't really want to have to make.
Right. The front of Swamp is also a possibility, if only for one chest.
Ooh, yeah.
But a pretty unpleasant one. Yoshi having a clean moth fight. Not really losing too much time there. We'll see how Goomba handles his.
Alrighty, Yoshi checking this chest here, maybe hoping to find the second item in the dungeon, so we don't have to do any of the front, but I don't know. We're going to the front.
Ooh, Goomba having a very nice Moth fight himself. Getting some pretty good patterns as well. Moth not really sticking to the spikes all that much. So I'm curious to see what Yoshi will do from here. You have Graveyard Ledge kind of in an orphan position, and it's tempting to just go straight onto Village of Outcasts. But that is, given how close this race is, that is a decision that would potentially swap the lead here.
Yeah, definitely could swing things a little bit.
Because as it looks, Yoshi is, just due to them having done the same checks and still continue to be doing the same checks, it looks like Yoshi is very slightly ahead. But that would definitely be a significant enough time investment to potentially swing a lead.
This second item is playing hard to get here.
There we go, not too bad. Yeah, Goombin closing a lot of time. So now
Okay,
even closer to Yoshi than he was beforehand. And yeah, Yoshi going straight to Village of Outcasts. So at this point, Graveyard Ledge is super orphan for him. We'll see if Goomba goes for the same play. I suspect he will, but you never know. It's pretty quick to get over there with the boots. So he may opt to just not leave it behind, since if you do now, you're kind of just stuck orphaning it until it's one of the last things you have left. But yeah, only 2 items for Gomo. He's feeling pretty confident as well that he won't have to do that.
yeah, it also seems like these guys are, thinking about heading down to Hype Cave and finishing out with the Pyramid Fairy. So they've kind of got this like strategy for the next few minutes kind of lined up, and to kind of deviate from that, there's not really a lot of incentive to do so when you've got a lot of other checks you can do as opposed to kind of that gross one-off.
Yeah, exactly. And worst case scenario, they've got the what's it called? The hook shot, of course.
Yeah,
So with the Pyramid Fairy check they're going to be doing at the end of this route, they can just head on up, hook shot over, and get Graveyard Ledge from there.
yeah, that
So
would be
basically,
quite the world
it routes
tour.
pretty well at the end of their current route. Yeah. So like, why do it now when it routes so well at the end?
Yeah, that is a good point. They might be thinking, all right, so first 4 was nothing spicy at all. We did get the small key, so we're on kind of big chest watch to see if that might actually be an item.
We saw
Not that
2
we'll,
items in
not
the
that we'll
front, yeah.
know. Yeah.
I believe,
Yes.
I believe so. So we got 2 items here in the back, but we do have the small key, meaning something is potentially in the big chest. It's decently
Could be.
likely, I'd say. But it's decently unlikely that it's anything relevant.
Oh yeah, it could be complete junk.
The only thing that would have any relevance in that big chest is the ice rod, or the flippers leading to the ice rod. Or some other fetch quest leading to the ice rod. Basically anything leading to the ice rod in that chest. But that's pretty unlikely, I think, which is why both runners are opting to make this play all the way through, despite that risk being on the table.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, heading down to the basement.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Well, all right, so we're not going to be orphaning that chest after all. Wow. That's a spot.
that is a spot, yeah.
The only chest in the back of Thieves' Town in logic without that small key. Granted, the small key was in the front, but it's still interesting nonetheless. It's always the rudest thing whenever the
Yeah.
hammer's in the back of Thieves' Town, no matter what the circumstances. At the very least, they don't have to orphan an item in here, so that's working pretty well for them. Also routes well into hammer pegs, which is now something that they don't have to orphan along the smith chain. And
Yeah,
they can also
definitely.
pod at the end of their route over to Pyramid Fairy. Go ahead and polish that off.
Yeah, this seed is pretty linear, all told, and it's going pretty smoothly, I'd say, for these guys.
There is also the fact now, though, that we are only one item from Go Mode, and guess what it is?
Oh, of course, it's the ice rod. I mean, the thing is, we're gonna find the flippers before we find the ice rod because the ice rod is gonna
Almost
be
definitely.
in Swamp Palace.
I mean, we're definitely at late game at this point. If the flippers show up, we're pretty certain they're required. At least I think so. So if we do find the flippers, I think the play is just to go into Swamp Palace. Possibly Ice Palace, but Swamp's a bit more dense. Has some more item requirements.
Ice
So I
Palace would be
prioritize that
pretty.
slightly.
Yeah, Ice Palace would be pretty Galaxy Brain, I'd say. Like
Yeah.
that's when, like, I don't know, like I wouldn't do it, but well, maybe I
That
would do
might be a
it.
thing that happens if some more meta routing comes into play here.
True. If
But
you
that's
think
about
your
the only
opponent's gonna,
situation I would see it.
yeah, if your opponent's gonna go for, if you're thinking they might go for Swamp Palace, and you're really, I don't know, but I feel like both of these guys are just like we're gonna be efficient and consistent, and we're not gonna take any crazy risks.
Yoshi is skipping the entire Smith sequence, though. Maybe. Or maybe he wants to do this before doing the Smith sequence, so he can just run straight from picking up the purple chest to dropping that off. Not having to walk anywhere with it. That might be what he's aiming for. I'm not sure which one is faster, though, to be honest. No, he's just going straight on the Hype Cave. Okay, just skipping the entire Smith sequence. Goomba getting tempered, though, off of Magic Bat, so at the very least, he's getting something for sticking around. If not the Ice Rod. But at the same time, yeah, Hype Cave is just hard to keep ignoring at this point, so I can definitely see why he's going for this. Oh, and Goomba not even doing Smiths either. He's going straight over to Pod. Was there an item left on Helmsor? I didn't count the items in Pod.
I didn't
so
either.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Man, it
Okay, there is an
has
item on
been
Helm. Thank you,
like
chat.
it's been an hour and 5 minutes or so of just two guys following the same route all the way through, and then we get the hammer and it just like blows up here. Like
Exactly.
everyone's thinking different things now. It's just like all bets are off. I mean, really, like, why have we not thought of just going to Turtle Rock? I mean, Ice Rod could probably be there as well. Yeah.
That's definitely on the table. I'm a little hesitant to do that, though, until I've at least checked all the mirror locations. And even then, Swamp Palace poses a big problem if the flippers end up showing up. Like, the one thing about Turtle Rock is that if you're going in without the Ice Rod, you want to have as many of your mirror checks done as possible to increase the chances of saving your portal at Laser Bridge. It's not relevant in this seed because we've done Aga, and so that method of saving your portal would not work anyway. But in general. So in this seed, though, doing all your mirror checks first isn't really gonna matter, and there's no way you can save your portal, which makes the TR play a bit harder of a call to make. Because if it's not there, you're committed to about 2.5 minutes of walking back all the way through. So I can understand any hesitation towards that play right now.
Yeah. I mean, both runners finishing off pod here because they can. That'll be 6 crystals for both of them. So it'll be whatever happens immediately after pod is going to be kind of like a big turning point here. I feel like Goomba is going to go for TR. I don't know what Yoshi's going to do. He might go for one of the pendants, but I don't know. It's a really tough call to make in this position.
It's going to be hard to go for any of the pendants in this situation
Yeah.
without the flippers anyway.
Oh,
Yoshi
right,
already
yeah.
took care of the Yoshi took care of the bulk of the overworld remaining to them. So I suspect he will also head over to TR. At least assuming Goomba does as well. It's possible Goomba decides to go to Hype Cave, but with rushing pod like this, I don't see that happening. I think his next play is just TR.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about the lack of flippers. I would also say that TR is probably pretty likely then. I mean, the flippers could be in TR, and then we could be in for a little bit more race. So who knows?
What would be very interesting is to see either the flippers or the ice rod show up on the Smith sequence, which both of our runners skipped. Yoshi walking right past it to do dig game down to Hype Cave instead, and Goomba just doing Magic Bat and Hammer Pegs and then bailing out.
Yeah.
Both of them having had the full opportunity to check it, but neither one of them having done it.
Oh.
And yeah, Goomba going for Hype Cave.
Yeah,
Hard to ignore
okay.
that kind of density, but probably TR after this, if not Pyramid Fairy, and then TR.
Yeah, so I mean, assuming that they both go for TR, we're going to be like right synced up again, more or less.
Yeah, he possibly also does Graveyard Ledge after Pyramid Fairy, because we know he's not gonna find anything in Hype or Pyramid Fairy. So he's probably gonna take this one best chance he has to check Graveyard Ledge. What will Yoshi do though? If he goes straight to TR and Ice Rod's in there, then he's definitely got a minute or so lead on Goomba. Maybe a minute and a half.
Yeah, and the only difference would be their swords, and I mean, at this point in a race, even though Tempered is really nice, I don't know if it's going to make you up like 90 seconds, maybe.
Yeah, that's asking a lot, especially if Yoshi happens to know Kana Samaria strats for the Ganon fight. I'm not 100% certain that they do, but it is going to shrink the difference of the swords by a big margin.
All right, Yoshi, where you going, bud?
Going to buy a potion, alright. Not a bad idea by any means. But where now? Is he fluting to the mountain? He's fluting to the mountain. We're getting a TR play here.
Yeah, I mean, this is like if you're staying in logic at this point. I mean, it's okay leaving. I feel like it's okay leaving Smith Chains. So, if you're assuming that the ice rod is going to be up here, or your flippers for your logical access into one of our unfortunate pendants that we don't want to have to touch.
Exactly. And Goomba following in his footsteps, just wanting to knock out the densest of the locations left in the overworld with Hype Cave and Pyramid Fairy. Not that I blame him. It'd be kind of hard to just rush straight to TR with that sitting on the back of your mind. Like, oh, if it's just there, if it's just that free, like I'm gonna feel horrible. But both of them headed for that right now. So only for about 5 minutes we got to enjoy some divergent routing, but now we're just back on the same wavelength again.
So what do you think, Bud? Are we gonna find the ice rod in here, or is it gonna be the flippers?
It's gonna be the flippers.
Of
Let's
course,
not
right?
kid ourselves. Flippers are never in GT when Swamp and Ice are pendants. Never
Mm-hmm.
seen it happen literally once in my life. Somehow. Even when they're bait, they're never in GT. I'm telling you.
Yeah, yeah.
Got a map and I believe 2 small keys, or was there a big key in the compass chest?
We're at 2 small keys right now.
Okay. So we almost have a vanilla big key situation. Not that we're worried about skipping the big chest and Mimic Cave anyway, since we are not in fact in go mode.
Okay, so we grabbed the big key here, but as we are still looking for items, we are definitely going to check the Lava Island chest. Not going to leave that one behind.
Absolutely. Imagine both runners probably on the edge of their seats, wondering if this TR play is going to pay off for them, though. It's like each one has a decent number of checks left to them in the overworld. Yoshi skipped the entire Smith Chain, Graveyard Ledge, Catfish. Not necessarily all nasty things that would have taken forever to route in. Smith Chain was pretty easy for him. He just decided to pass on it and go for the much more dense and quick checks in Hype Cave and Pyramid Fairy. Whereas Goomba left behind not only the Smith Chain, but also Dig Game and Stumpy in Cave 45. So he's got a good number of remaining checks as well. And I don't think any of them is going to be super excited to go back there.
No, definitely not.
So they're definitely hoping something shows up here.
Alrighty. TR Big Chest and Mimic Cave coming up here.
Yoshi not checking Mimic Cave, or is checking Mimic Cave first, despite being one item for Go mode. I don't agree with this. If you're one item for Go mode, you definitely check the big chest first, and just skip the double mirror transition.
It's one of those plays that I always forget to do. Like it makes so much more sense to just check that big chest first. But you hit that mirror and you're like, oh, I guess I'm stuck doing Mimic Cave now.
Oh, what is Goomba doing, though? He's going for the big chest, but he's trying to style a bit. But it's not working out. Alright. So big chest is not the answer today. So maybe we'll back out and check Mimic Cave as Yoshi goes on. To the dreaded Laser Bridge. The holder of progression since time immemorial.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna have a key on Laser Bridge. I don't know what the dungeon item situation is. I don't even know how many items you have left in this dungeon. I'm not good at counting. What do we got? Like one or two? Two probably. We got 2 on the bridge, possibly. Who knows? We'll find out in a few seconds, anyways.
Yeah,
Who
I
cares?
believe we have 3 items left, but we have already seen the map. I think we're still looking for a small key, 3 items in the compass. There's a shovel, okay. 3 bomb. Oh, and the ice rod, okay. That's go
Wow.
mode for Yoshi, and will soon be go mode for Goomba as well. No flippers, though. What is this? Are flippers
That's
actually in
amazing.
GT?
Now they're on
There's no way
Smith
flippers are
Chain.
actually in GT. Yeah, they're on Smiths. Both runners galaxy brain their way past the bait.
So you know what? I mean, like, as much as chat and, you know, you want to see more race, this makes for a really exciting finish. You know,
This
these
is
guys are
going to
both going to
be...
be going for GT here.
Yeah, especially right now in their situation. Goomba being a sword up, and both with silvers. He's going to save a little bit of time on the Trinex fight, as well as a good bit of time on the Ganon fight. So really, it is going to come down to GT routing, I think, more than anything else.
Yeah, I think so.
If Goomba gets a good enough route, then it's his game to lose, despite being about 30 or so seconds behind at the moment. Or maybe we see about the 10 billionth tie in this tournament,
Oh my.
because we've been seeing a lot of them. And this
Wouldn't
is coming
that be
down
something?
to a pretty close race.
Trinex being a little silly there with Yoshi, but he gets him down with a couple of hammer hits to finish it off there. Goomba kind of clowning around here, but he gets the ice head down. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, okay, numbers in chat. It's happening. Oh, okay.
Baby,
So,
everybody's favorite game. Where will the
20
Ganon's Tower Big Key be hiding today? 22 different locations, as you were saying.
Yes, yeah, 22 locations. Yeah, put your guesses in the chat there. Miguel, what do you think, man? Is this going to be a nice seed, or is it going to be something pretty gross?
I'm thinking specifically the bottom right chest of Compass Room. Not
Oh, okay.
Compass Room, of Rando Room.
Oh, okay. Completely different side of the dungeon there. Yeah, I was actually going to say it's going to be Compass Room. I'm going to go... I'll just be opposite of you a little bit there. I'll go top left in Compass Room.
Alrighty. We'll see how either one of those pays out. Yoshi going right first, at the very least, to Hope Room. So no DM strats from Yoshi. Going to the left chest first, gets a small key. Now has to walk all the way back over to the left side of the room. I don't understand why people start with the left side. If you find a small key, it's just faster to go right first. But, going to be following up with Compass Room thanks to that small key. Goomba looking to do the exact same thing. Let's see if he also follows in Yoshi's footsteps. He is mirroring. Okay, this is
Ooh.
going to be potentially huge.
Wow, wow, wow.
Ironically, Goomba would have been in a better position by just following Yoshi's footsteps here, despite being... Oh, there it is! This is
Yikes.
very much Yoshi's game to lose.
This is really exciting.
Going for the divergence here was a big mistake, it would seem. He doesn't know it, but he was a sword up and not far enough behind that the time made up by having that sword was would be enough to put him in the lead. Unfortunately, he went the other direction and it did not pay off, so Yoshi's going to take an early lead into the gauntlet, while Goomba continues down to clear all of the left side.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, there's just no... This is like a set amount of time that Goomba is dumping into this here. I mean, he's going to be down like about, I don't know, 2.5, 3 minutes probably before he gets over to the Compass Room there. That's a lot of time, like huge amounts of time.
Yoshi having a bit of trouble in Mimics 2, but he gets it and moves on. It's possibly a meta route kind of thing, Fear. That's what I'm thinking. There's been a little bit of that in the seed from both runners. And I'm thinking for that reason Goomba might feel behind for some reason. Well, that's definitely something we'll have to ask about. Like, that is something that clarifies, or that calls for a bit of clarification on his thought process there, finding a small key and then going left anyway. That's
I mean, it
something we'll have to ask about.
could be the just a late hammer if he thought that maybe Yoshi dipped Thieves Town sooner.
That's possible, yeah. We did find the flippers though in the bottom right chest of Rando Room. So I was right about something being there, it just wasn't the big key.
Yoshi getting a little bullied in the gauntlet here, but he is hanging tough. Really nice final room there. Ducking and weaving there.
Have to be a bit careful though, passing up on the anti-fairy refill. Because he's on 3 hearts. And while he's on a red mail, it's not too difficult to take now 2.5 hearts of damage in the gauntlet. But fortunately, the next few rooms are not nearly as difficult.
He does have the fairy in one of his bottles, and he did buy the potion, so he's got some safeties in case things go wrong. But yeah, you don't want to take a death at any point. It throws you off, you know, even if you've got the fairy to pick you back up.
So Goomba probably not feeling great about that full left side clear. Like, you go to Hope Room, you find a small key, then you go to a full empty left side, you can't be feeling great. Because you made that decision that it wasn't in Compass Room, and now it's looking very much like it's going to be in Compass Room.
Yeah,
the one thing you're
that's
feeling good about here is in Tile Room, which is
yeah.
So you were saying, sorry?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I find that if I do Hope Room and then skip out and do left side, as soon as I hit like Rando Room, when I'm opening those chests, I'm already thinking it's Compass Room. It's Compass Room. I've blown it. So it's the worst feeling because you know you have to commit to the side that you've chosen here, but you feel so bad.
It definitely wears on your mind a good bit. Yoshi checking the top chest in the gauntlet, looking for a sword. Not gonna find one though, because we did see the 4th sword show up in, I believe, Stolfos' room of left side. He's stopping for the refill on health though, because he's getting pretty low on that. So Goomba is quite a bit more well-equipped to handle the gauntlet, and might stand to gain a bit of time back on Yoshi having 2 extra swords. But at this point, with this amount of difference, it's not going to be enough. I don't think this game is firmly in Yoshi's hands.
Yeah, I think in the gauntlet here, Goomba could probably make up like 20 seconds all the way through the tower, but I mean, he's 3.5 minutes behind.
Yeah. It's going to be a rough climb to try to make up that much time.
It might start to get a little bit closer as we get into the Ganon fight, just because Yoshi is only on Master Sword, but still, Yoshi's not going to blow it. He's a great runner, so
yeah,
I suspect it. Yeah.
It's an excellent fight. I believe that was a double into a triple, and yeah, then a single hit on the 3rd cycle. Very nice Agatu fight from Yoshi. Not losing much of any time there.
I like how people have kind of like generally like just slightly different strategies going into that Lanmo 2 fight, where they choose to stand to launch the arrows there. And here we are in the Ganon fight with Yoshi here. Master Sword, bunch of spins to get it done. Let's see how he does.
Not opting for Cane strats.
Cane strats tricky, man.
They are tricky. But they do speed up the first 2 phases pretty considerably with only Master Sword, if you get some unlucky patterns. Like we're getting exclusively unlucky patterns in Yoshi's end right now. No, not quite enough luck to have him into a position where he can just spin against the wall. Wow, none of these positions are very favorable for him.
He's
This
opting
is
to go with the cane, you know, like or with the cape. Sorry, I mean, like, yeah, why not? You're not going to be getting any other hits in. Like, it's so rude.
Oh, here we go. Okay, finally something to work
Finally.
with. And I believe that should close it out. Yeah. Ooh, careful, Yoshi. Oh, he's got safeties. He's fine. He's definitely losing a good bit of time on this Ganon fight, though, just due to very, very unfortunate locations where Ganon decides to teleport. It is still very much his game, though.
Oh yeah. Once you get through, like, especially phase two sucks. Here, you're kind of on autopilot, so he looks like he's in really good shape to finish it out.
Oh, barely missing that spin a little early, and almost pays dearly for it. Tell the nerves might be getting to him just a little bit. But that will
Here we
do it.
go.
4 silver arrows later, Ganon is down, and Yoshi is poised to move on to Game 2 with a 1-0 lead over Goomba. GG's.
Yeah, throw those GGs in the chat for Yoshi, finishing with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 10 seconds.
Very well done by Yoshi.
So I don't know if Yoshi generally comes in for interviews, but he might be hanging out in the Twitch chat there. So if you see him, you know, shout out to Yoshi for doing a great job here. I think I do see him there. Yeah, I mean, like, really, this was a pretty linear seed, but I mean, you had to, you know, really map out what you were going to do. And, you know, we saw that Yoshi and Goomba both kind of followed more or less the same pattern through most of the seed here. Yeah, it was just good calls from both runners. And Yoshi just making a couple of little cuts here and there that put him ahead. And then it came down to the GT routing in the end there.
Getting a nice double into a single, and that will close it out for him. Only about a minute and a half behind. Very respectable finish. GG's to Goomba.
Alrighty, coming across the finish line with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 31 minutes, 48 seconds. Let's see if we can get him in for a little chat with us here. Whew, exciting game one. You know, definitely a show of execution here. These guys are definitely top-notch runners. It's round of 16. It's impressive stuff all around.
Yeah, definitely a super linear seed that was more heavy on execution difference than anything else. There were definitely a few choices you could have made to differ in the routing, and one of the only choices that was available for our runners in the entire seed was what made the difference here, and that was the GT route. Goomba taking his small key from Hope Room and not going all the way to Compass Room, but instead going left is what did him in here. It being one of the only choices too makes it feel all that much worse for him. But it was still a well-fought battle.
All right, let's see if we can pull Goomba in here. Yo, Goomba. GG's, man.
Goomba.
Tough
GG's.
break.
GG.
So I got a few questions I
man,
want to ask about that seed. If you don't mind, of course.
That's
Dude,
why I'm
go
here,
for
isn't
it.
it?
I guess so, yeah. So there are only a few places in that seed where you could even make any sort of decision at all. The rest of it was super linear, but I'm curious about a few of them. Like early on in the seed, you pretty much did everything else before going straight to Aga. Did you? I'm curious how long you had Aga on your mind and why you went as far as like say fake flippering before making the Aga play.
I mean, honestly, I was pretty convinced it was an Aga really, really early. That's why I put up Escape for so long, so I could just route Escape straight into Aga Tower. But generally my philosophy is, if I have a flute and I think it's an Aga seed, I am just going to full clear everything before Aga, because with a flute it doesn't really cost much travel time.
That's definitely a good point. Yeah, I could see that. Because like most of the time you lose from going and committing to a fake flipper before Naga play is like the walk down there, right?
Exactly.
So if you can like navigate past that with the flute, then it's not so much of a big deal.
Of course, I felt kind of bad about it once I saw the Dark World map, because at that point I figured the flippers were just in Ganon's Tower anyway, which they were.
We were kind of surprised to see them up in Ganon's Tower, actually, but yeah, they were there.
So now the next thing I was curious about was after getting your hammer out of Thieves Town, both of you took some interesting routes from there forward. You opted for hammer pegs to magic bat and then fluting over to pod, whereas Yoshi went and skipped the entire smith chain and did dig game to Stumpy to hype cave before and into Pyramid Fairy before going into pod. So I'm curious what your thought process was, just doing those 2 checks and then fluting off the pod.
It was mostly just me wanting the ice rod to be behind the hammer. That's pretty much it.
That does make a good amount of sense.
Because I figured I would skip all the stuff that wasn't hammer locked. I mean, I guess Magic Bat technically wasn't, but yeah, that was pretty much it. And then I did Hype Cave into Pyramid Fairy because it's 7 really quick items. I wanted to be safe before I just went straight to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that's definitely an easy play to understand. We figured it was for likely that reason. And then the big question, the GT routing. You went to Hope Room and got a small key and then mirrored for left side. So what tempted you to do that?
I felt behind because the seed was really, really linear, and I felt like the early game had gone disastrously. On top of the fiasco with the failed potion glitch in pod leading to a rather slow mimic clip and all that garbage.
Yeah,
So I decided to just cut a corner, and it was evidently the wrong corner to cut.
Yeah, definitely a bit of an unfortunate play for you there. But you still kept it really close in the end. You gained a lot of time back in the Gauntlet and in the Ganon fight. It was about, I want to say like a 2.5 or 3 minute difference getting your big key, and you closed it down to 1.5 minutes. So you chopped away like half the time you lost, if not more.
I mean, gold versus master. It's kind of bound to happen.
Yeah. But yeah, so Sabo, were any questions you had you wanted to ask? Sorry for kind of monopolizing.
Oh no, man, you had some nice questions there. I don't know if I really have anything to add. I mean, because it was like linear garbage all the way through, pretty much. So I don't know if I have too much to add, but yeah. Any thoughts on what you're going to do to shake up game 2?
I'm not really sure, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, recency bias would tempt me to pick fast Ganon so I can get rid of the whole GT Big Key fiasco entirely, but I'm not so sure.
Right on, right on. Yeah, I don't know if I've got too much else. I mean, everything was kind of out there on the seat, on display. It was, a couple of small decisions is all it came down to here. So, an excellent execution from both runners, for the most part, all the way through. Yeah, I think I'm good. So I guess we should wrap this up then. Goomba, thanks for joining us, buddy. Really appreciate it. I'm glad we got to call one of your races, bud.
Yep.
So yeah, Megawatt, it's been a blast being in the booth with you here, man. Really good time. And our tracker, I see clicking those buttons behind the scenes. Really appreciate you doing that for us. Megawatt, I'll leave you with the last word, buddy.
All right, well, with that, I think, well, what else do we have to look forward to later today, first of all?
Ooh.
I believe we have I know Jet versus Boyne Game 2 is coming up later today, coming off of a very hot Game 1 that ended in an exact tie. And I believe there's one more
Yeah.
match as well. I can't
There
remember.
is. Okay, so we've got Weighty Words Dunka, Game 3. So that's at 6:20 p.m. Eastern. These are both going to be on speed gaming. So we've got Weighty Words, Big Dunka, and then following that we've got Boyne and Jet 082 there. So it's just like Friday night fights right here. Like, just some excellent runners coming up. It should be a lot of fun. So stick it to speed gaming here, and yeah, it's gonna be a great evening of rando action, I think.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's been a pleasure commentating with you, this other guy. And I wish everybody else here a good evening.